Hey there mamas, welcome back to my channel. Happy Latchers. My name is Brittany. I'm a certified breastfeeding counselor, stay-at-home mom of 2 with a 3rd baby on the way. Today we're diving into one of the most important topics, but often one of the most challenging topics of breastfeeding, which is mastering your milk supply. Whether you're a first-time mom just trying to figure it out or a seasoned pro looking to optimize your breastfeeding journey, this video will cover everything you need to know about mastering, boosting, and maintaining your milk supply throughout your breastfeeding journey. So grab a cozy seat and let's get started. This video is a part of my free breastfeeding course, which is located in this playlist. You're gonna wanna go to the playlist and watch from beginning to end so you can make the absolute most out of your free breastfeeding education. I'm gonna have all sorts of other tools and resources in the description box below, along with special discounts, so you're not gonna wanna skip past that either. First, let's talk about what even affects your milk supply. There are 3 main factors. Number 1 is going to be supply and demand. Your body produces milk based off of how much your baby eats or how much you're outputting, whether that's through a pump, hand expression, or your baby's mouth. The more you nurse, the more you pump, the more your body will produce. 2 is hormonal changes. Right after your birth, your hormones are gonna play a role in creating and establishing that milk supply, especially a hormone called prolactin. However, as your breastfeeding journey progresses, that's when it switches to more an on-demand style. And 3 is going to be lifestyle factors. Hydration and nutrition are going to be so important in maintaining your supply, and rest, although let's be real, there's probably gonna be a lack thereof. And stress are all gonna play a critical role in how you maintain and increase your breast milk supply. We're gonna get more into these as we move forward through this video. So let's break these things down into some actionable steps. We're gonna go over how to naturally increase your breast milk supply, how you'll know if you're producing enough breast milk for your baby, what to do if you actually are struggling with low milk supply, and of course, how to avoid an oversupply or clogged ducts, because nobody wants to have mastitis or the pain of a clogged duct. It's no surprise that every mom is stressed out about whether or not they are producing enough milk for their baby. So I hope by the end of this video, you will know if you're producing enough milk for your baby and you can continue to breastfeed with confidence without doubting yourself and doubting your body. Tip number 1 is all about skin-to-skin contact. Right after birth and even the weeks following, spending time with your baby skin to skin is going to help produce those milk-producing hormones. This is going to be especially helpful in those early days when you're trying to establish a supply. This skin-to-skin contact does not have to happen during a feeding. It can happen while you're watching TV, while you're in the tub. Undress baby down to a diaper, lay them in your shirt or with your shirt completely off, and enjoy the skin-to-skin snuggles. It's great bonding for your baby, and it is really going to help establish that milk supply very early on. Tip number 2 is breast massage. Use breast massage techniques both before and during your breastfeeding sessions or pumping. Gently massaging your breast can help stimulate milk flow and drain your milk ducts more effectively. This in turn will signal your body to produce more milk. Plus, it can help relieve engorgement or clogged ducts that might be forming as your milk supply starts to establish. To do this, you're going to make an upside down C with your hand. You're going to put it on the breast like this, and then you're going to gently push outward towards your nipple. Tip number 3, you're gonna wanna nurse or pump frequently. Like I said, it is a supply and demand system. You're gonna wanna aim to nurse or feed about 8 to 12 times within a 24-hour period. This is aiming to empty your breast every 2 to 3 hours in those first few weeks. If you're exclusively breastfeeding, follow your baby's hunger cues. Baby hunger cues could be opening their mouth to root, switching their head side to side, and stretching. When they get to the point where they're crying, they're actually really beyond hunger, and it can be harder to get them to latch. If you're pumping, make sure you're pumping along to fully drain each breast. You will most likely have more than 1 letdown per feeding. So just because you see the milk stop flowing doesn't mean that your breast is drained. Go for another 10 minutes and you will most likely have a second letdown reflex, and your body's going to start regulating more milk and producing more milk. Remember that the emptier the breast, the stronger the signal is to make more milk. Now let's talk a little bit about taking care of you. Staying hydrated is absolutely crucial and a non-negotiable. Your body needs extra fluids to make and maintain the milk, so aim for 12 glasses of water every single day. In fact, I'm gonna link down my favorite giant jug of water that's gonna help you maintain that hydration. Don't forget about nutrition. You're gonna wanna focus on nutrient-dense foods like oatmeal, nuts, seeds, leafy greens, and lean proteins. Foods rich in iron and healthy fats are also also particularly helpful in boosting and maintaining milk supply. I actually have a nutrition guide in my breastfeeding and postpartum bundle that's going to be linked in the description box below. I highly recommend you check out that bundle. There is also a series of products being marketed for lactation improvement, such as lactation cookies, lactation teas, all sorts of things. And you might have heard of Galacticos. Galacticos are food or supplements that are aimed to improving milk supply. Some popular options include fenugreek, fennel, brewer's yeast, and of course lactation cookies. There's a whole slew of lactation cookies on the market. But remember, what works for one mom might not work for you, so it might take some experimentation to see what's going to best fit you, your family, and your body's needs. I do have my personal favorite lactation cookies and milk supply teas linked in my free breastfeeding checklist. If you want to go check that out, I'll leave that in the description box too. Now, if you're looking to exclusively pump or build a great freezer stash of milk, pumping consistency is going to be key. A great way to increase your supply is to include a power pumping session into your routine every day. This involves pumping for 20 minutes, resting for 10, and then pumping for another 10. Do this once a day for a few days and you'll likely see a drastic increase in your milk supply. But something to keep in mind is that whatever you're pumping is not necessarily going to be what your baby is drawing out, because baby is a lot more effective at drawing out breast milk than a pump is. So if you're looking at what's inside your bottle after pumping and you're like, this cannot be enough, don't panic, because most likely your baby is drawing out a lot more milk than what your pump is drawing out of your breast. Another important factor of maintaining your milk supply or making sure that your milk is coming in is having a good effective latch. So what are some signs of a good latch? One is that your baby's mouth covers most of the areola and not just the nipple. Two, the lips are flanged out like a fish. This is going to be one of the easiest fixes that solve a lot of lactation problems. A lot of the times when a baby starts suckling, their bottom lip is tucked in while they're nursing. This causes breast discomfort, and breastfeeding should not be uncomfortable. It should not be painful. You're going to want to take your finger and just slightly push out their bottom lip to make it flanged out like a fish. This can drastically help a latch and help them draw out more milk. And three, you can hear them swallowing. You can actually hear the little tiny swallows and see their little throat going. Now, if you hear clicking noises, that's usually a sign that they don't have a good latch. So if you hear that's actually not a good latch, but if you hear little tiny sucklings, that is a good sign that they have a good latch. If you are feeling pain while nursing, it may be worth consulting a lactation consultant, because breastfeeding should not be painful. You might feel a little discomfort right at the beginning of the latch, but you should not be maintaining pain throughout the breastfeeding process. I'm going to be diving into latching specifically in a whole nother video, so you're going to want to make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss that video, because that is going to be a good one and a very important one on your breastfeeding journey. Now, let's address some common concerns. One of the most common concerns is, am I producing enough milk? Here's how you'll know if you're producing enough milk. One, your baby has at least 6 wet diapers every day. That means they are staying hydrated, they're urinating, and if the urine is a light yellow and not a dark yellow, that means they are hydrated, they are getting enough milk. Likewise, if they're passing bowel movements, all should be good as well. If they're gaining weight at a steady pace, then that means they are getting the nutrients, they are getting the milk, and they are getting the fat from your breast needed for necessary growth. And 3, if they seem content after feeding, if there's not big signs of distress after feeding and they got that milk drunk face, most likely they got milk, they got hydrated, they're feeling pretty good. And moms, if you're dealing with oversupply, you can try block feeding. This means nursing from one breast longer so that the other breast slows down, because like you said, you're not switching breast and causing that body to signal, let's make more milk. You're saying, oh, the baby's not feeding on this side this time, let's slow production. One tip that's often overlooked is tracking your pumping and feeding schedules. Keeping a log helps you identify patterns and helps you spot anything that may seem a little off early on. Plus, it's a great way to celebrate small wins, like pumping an extra ounce or seeing your baby's weight go up at their next doctor visit. Here's just a few last things to keep in mind as you progress through your breastfeeding journey. One is that cluster feeding is absolutely a thing. That's when baby is going to nurse extremely frequently, maybe every 30 minutes, every 1 hour. And that is when a mom kind of starts to doubt their milk supply, because they're like, my baby is constantly feeding, I must not be producing enough milk, they're always hungry. Cluster feeding is your baby's way of signaling to your body that they are going through a growth spurt, so your body needs to produce more milk for them. It is absolutely normal. Don't panic if your baby starts to cluster feed. It's most likely just a phase that will pass. Another thing to keep in mind is that you may need to wake your baby up for feeding. especially in those first few days, newborns are extremely sleepy. And if you just don't wake your baby and they're going 6-hour stretches without eating, especially at night, that's going to signal to your body very early on that they don't need enough milk, and it can be really hard to get that supply back up after your body's already said, hey, we don't need that much milk. So still maintain waking your baby every 2 to 3 hours for feeding to ensure you are getting a great milk supply early on in your journey. Another thing to keep in mind is after you fed your baby, your breast will feel very soft and feel very empty, but that is not the case. Your breast is never completely empty. There is always new milk being produced. So a lot of moms will panic if they just fed their baby 30 minutes ago or an hour ago and they're hungry again. You can still feed them. Your body is still producing milk. It's not, oh my gosh, my breast is empty, it's going to be so hungry. That's not how it works. Your body is a constant flow of milk. So even though your breast might not feel hard and loaded, it's still producing milk. Likewise, as your breastfeeding journey progresses, you won't have that super rock hard feeling like you did in the early days. Your breast will start to feel softer. They will start to feel empty as your milk supply starts establishing and regulating for your baby. Again, you just want to continuously to feed on demand, feed with their hunger cues, feed on their schedule, and make sure you're emptying your breast as frequently as necessary. Last but not least, a lot of moms will want to start supplementing with formula if they feel like things are going awry, and this can affect your milk supply. So if you can avoid supplementing with formula because you feel very passionate about exclusively breastfeeding, I would try and maintain that. Try to avoid supplementing with formula if you can, because anytime you are not feeding from your breast, you are signaling to your breast not to produce that milk. And likewise, that goes with pacifier use too. If a baby is hungry and you put a pacifier in their mouth and they use the pacifier to suck instead of using your breast, that can drastically decrease your milk supply early on too. Breastfeeding is a journey and every mom's experience is unique to them. Remember, it's not just about the quantity, but the quality of time that you're spending nursing your baby. Give yourself grace, stay patient, have positive self-talk, use breastfeeding affirmations in the times of struggle. I have a load of breastfeeding affirmations on my Threads and Instagram account. Repeat them to yourself. It's a mental journey as well. And don't hesitate to ask for help if you need it. And don't forget, I have lots of resources and tools in the description box below. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Subscribe for more breastfeeding and postpartum tips and share with a new mom who might be in need of help. Remember, you got this, mama. See you in the next video.